This week's episode is brought to you by Blue Harvest Vintage. Are you a collector? Blue Harvest love to help you find that missing piece you need to complete your collection. They have extensive stock of vintage Star Wars vehicles and mint-on-card action figures, as well as new The Force Awakens and Black Series items. Blue Harvest have Funko Pops, Lego, Dinky, Corgi, Matchbox and more. Everything a collector could possibly need. If they don't stock it, then let them know, and their knowledgeable staff will be only too pleased to help. Head to Morley Market in Leeds to see the life-size Darth Vader. Alternatively, reach out to Blue Harvest on Twitter at Blue Harvest UK, Facebook, Blue Harvest Vintage Collectibles, a website, blueharvestvintage.co.uk, or email at blueharvesttoys@gmail.com.
Talk Star Wars is a proud member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Follow at SW Commonwealth on Twitter and take your first steps into a larger world. This is Talk Star Wars, the official podcast at talkstarwars.co.uk. Hello everyone and welcome back to Talk Star Wars. I'm Mark.
I'm Stephen.
I'm Rob.
And it's episode 51. Something's changing. No Paul this week, unfortunately, because he is a little girl. I mean, he's a little ill.
He's feeling
Get well soon,
potatoes.
Mr. Paulie Paul.
How are you feeling, Steve? You've been unwell this week
I'm
too.
poopski potatoes as well.
Okay, you're going to hang around as long as you can tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, mate. So you might have to
Jen's
duck
going to
out.
bring me a hot water bottle, and then I'll feel a lot better.
Bless your little heart. Rob, you okay, mate?
I am strong like bull.
You're a strong like bull.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm kind of more or less over this awful flu that's doing the rounds. The only thing I've got left is I've got a bit of a cough to shake, but so I'll try and mute it as best I can, though.
Okay, mate. I thought I was having something last week. I felt like I was getting some sort of lurgy.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it, and I said brace yourself because you may get two things.
Yeah, no, it actually didn't. It didn't come to anything. I had a good night's sleep and spent the entire next day working on stuff for Talk Star Wars, like editing this stuff. I went straight to bed after we recorded. I did all the editing the next day.
Okay.
And then I had to wrestle Handbrake to the ground. Do either of you guys use Handbrake?
I've used it once or twice, yeah. For, game
Steve,
videos.
do you use it for your videos for YouTube?
No, I use iMovie.
Oh no, this is it's a compression piece of software.
Oh,
So
no, they're never big.
probably not for your run times. You probably don't need it, but for the main show Talk Star Wars, like last week was 2.5 hours, and so I have to compress that down. When I offer
for
that
YouTube
at HD,
For the
put out a
tubes.
2.5 hour episode in HD, and it's
Yes. Huge.
absolute monster.
Yeah.
So use Handbrake to rip it down, get it down to sort of around about half a gig, and it just wasn't having it last week. I was only getting an hour and 53 minutes of the show.
Why can't you do it as just an audio and then use the not on an iPad, but on the when I use it on a desktop, the actual browser version of YouTube, it allows you to apply audio to a background video file.
Yeah, I looked at that last week and I couldn't find a way to get the audio track loaded up.
Okay, I have done it before, but you have to be on a desktop.
Yeah, I was on the MacBook.
I'll have a look for you tomorrow.
Yeah, well, the long and the short of it is I walked away from it for a couple of days, and then the next time I went into Handbrake, I tried it just on the off chance, and it went.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
You don't even need me no more.
How is that correlated at all?
What is that?
Well,
Were you big on the video editing before,
bit
then,
of
Steve?
technical help, and it all gone eats up.
Yeah, we're on the main show. Be careful what you say.
No, that was pretty good.
It was
definitely
quick. It was quick thinking, but now I know that he's used up all of his quick thinking right in the first 3 minutes of the show, which is a problem. All right, let's get into our announcement section then, and we'd like to start by reminding you very quickly that our sponsors, Blue Harvest Vintage, are offering a 10% discount on orders when you tell them that we sent you. And you can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Blue Harvest Vintage Collectibles, or on Twitter at Blue Harvest UK. Also, this week, Marc put out his first piece on Talk Star Wars, which is going to be a series, a collector's series, talking about the ever so desirable Star Wars toys, and it was fantastic.
As long as they're not going to fight Jeremy.
No, well,
I don't want to know who wins that one.
Yeah, Jeremy stepped away from it for a while.
I haven't seen his set lately. He hasn't put any the collector things up, has he?
No, he hasn't done anything for a while. I might have to light a fire.
Maybe he's run out of money because it was getting quite expensive.
Yeah,
No, I can imagine.
Well, him and Blue Harvest talk a lot, so
Yeah.
There's something going on there. Some sort of transactions, but
Anyway,
anyway,
Star Wars love.
we've got a few additions to the Talk Star Wars family this week with the social networks kind of growing a little bit. So Timothy Simons liked our Facebook page. That just happened today. Spencer LOL Films and our good friend Dave Land-Donovan, subscribed to our YouTube channel. And we'd also like to welcome Robert Phillips, who followed us on just about every platform I've noticed over the past 24, 36 hours, little pop-ups telling me that Robert's joined. So welcome everybody to the group. Surprised it took Dave so long to subscribe to YouTube.
Hey, well, don't look at the gift horse in the mouth, Mark. Come on, he's here now.
I'll take
that's the main thing. Yeah, exactly. He's the main. That's the main thing. He's here now.
Yeah, he's here now, and that's it. Reviews, right? We're expecting a review to go through, but it hasn't passed YouTube's, iTunes strict vetting process just yet. Perhaps we'll have that next week. I know there's one on the way. But we did get a nice comment from Pete Sampson on YouTube, who said he can't believe he watched the original trilogy so many times growing up and never noticed that C-3PO had a silver leg.
Oh.
But great shows always keep them coming. I thought it was an interesting piece of trivia. Did we talk about that last week or something?
I don't know. That doesn't ring a bell.
Maybe he went back. Maybe he was listening to
it's an old one,
stuff.
I never noticed until recently.
Really?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, how often do you look at another man's leg?
All the time. You've got nice legs.
Right, you two. I know you, Mark. I expect it from you because you're a hater. I expected Rob to get that reference, and I'm not even going to tell you to because you don't deserve the reference. Anyone who understands it, please write in and tell Mark that he's a hater of that film.
Is it because we are not film buffs?
Yeah, probably.
This is going to be some random thing that we should have seen.
No, it's not a random thing. It's from... I'm not going to even say anything. You don't deserve to have it explained to you, and the listeners can decide.
Okay, well, if anyone gets the reference...
If anyone has any idea what Steve's talking about...
ever, then please just...
Oh, they will, because they're film buffs. You two are a lot interlopers.
Send us a photograph of a cave painting with your thoughts scored on it. That would be a nice way of treating that.
We look forward to hearing from you, Tharg.
Just the last comment on the reviews. Just a reminder that we have the Ron Burgundy policy on our reviews. So whatever you write in a 5-star review on iTunes, we will read out verbatim, as long as you don't swear and as long as you're not really hateful and stuff like that. Yeah, but have a bit of fun with that because we do enjoy reading them. Listener comms, we've got a nice big fat listener comms section this week with a couple of voicemails. So you can send your questions and comments via Twitter, Facebook, and send us an email at talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com. That's talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com. And you can also send us voicemail quickly and easily by recording it into your voice recorder on your iPhone. Just fire it off as either an iMessage or an email, whatever is easiest for you. So the first question this week is from Paul Corey, or our friend Paul Coruscant, as we have christened him. He says, "Hey guys, wondered if you had any Star Wars tattoos. Could maybe ask the listeners if they have any good ones and maybe do a competition for the best." I have quite a few tattoos. None of them Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, which is really strange considering it's one of the central loves of my life.
Indeed.
What about you guys?
One that says "I kissed my sister." Or is that nothing to do with Star Wars?
Yeah.
Steve, you don't have any ink, do you, mate?
No, none at all. None at all. I've always been on the cusp. I was going to do a huge snow leopard on my back for charity because there's only 35 left in the wild.
Oh my god!
But I didn't do it.
Your back would get just enormous as more things dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, I do. I'm still considering it because I'd have it on the back, so I'd never have to see it. But,
you'd want a West African black rhino, wouldn't you? They went extinct a couple of years ago. It's going to be a big piece, but
I'm not sure if they did. God, it's awful when things are going extinct every week, isn't it?
Especially when you try and get a snow leopard to sit still and you end up killing it as they're trying to tattoo you and use it as a resource, as a reference material.
I was trying to find a tattoo artist that would do it for nothing, and so I didn't have to pay and raise money for charity because it just wouldn't work. Because
that's a lot of work, though.
Yeah, Steve, I would tell you now from experience of people who've had that, if it's too cheap to be true, it's going to be crap. as a tattoos go, you want to spend the money and get it done properly. Yeah. Like if they're
If
charging a lot, it's because they can.
If anyone wants to do a huge snow leopard on my back for the World Land Trust charity, then I would be happy to negotiate with you, and you can get loads of free advertising on their website. I'd be very
happy to. I think we should get a fundraising campaign going personally.
Yeah, well, I want to raise loads of money because they are on their way out.
Make a video about it, Steve. Put it on your YouTube channel.
There you go.
And we'll share it and get a Kickstarter going.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense.
Sounds like a planage.
Yeah. But no, not one of us has got a Star Wars tattoo between us. I feel like we failed.
I've got no tattoos whatsoever. It's mainly because I've found myself struggling to think of something that I like so much that I'd want it on me forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've toyed with a couple of things like the Punisher skull because I'm a fan of the comics of the Punisher and the movies actually. Haters gonna hate. But yeah, it's one of those things I've just never quite found something that I think, yes, I definitely want one of those.
Well, I'm certainly planning to get a Star Wars tattoo done. The problem is the sort of thing that I would want done will cost so much money that it pushes the price of the tattoo up to about the same as the price of all the equipment that I need to buy. So
right.
Everything gets trumped by, as soon as I get a significant amount of money, I think, I need to do that now. I need to buy this kit or I need to buy this thing.
Yeah.
And Rob, if you've seen in the Twitter chat this week, you've seen some of the issues the Commonwealth have been having with recording material and recording equipment.
Yes, I feel their pain because I've had to lose. So it was Gen X-Wing, wasn't it, who had some issues with some part of their show.
Yeah,
I felt his pain because I've lost an entire show before to that sort of thing.
I really hate the thought of doing that. So I would like to get sort of a backup recording going. So I need to get a recorder, and that might be the next thing I get. Not the cheap plastic toy that kids play with, like wind instruments. But I would love to have a Star Wars tattoo. In fact, Steve, do you remember at Celebration we went past the past the tattoo pavilion?
There was hundreds, wasn't there? There were loads of people doing tattoos.
Loads and loads, and they were all great quality. And I looked at a few of them, and then I chose an artist, and he's in Brighton, and I've taken his card.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna contact him with a proposal, similar to Steve, but nothing quite as noble. I thought perhaps if they could cover the cost of something for me to have done, I'd do it as a YouTube series.
Right.
As it's being done, I'll record it.
How long is this one going to take, do you think? Then?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would like...
Because it might be that it's like, it's only half an hour. Okay.
Well, you can do it in time-lapse.
No, I'd like a half sleeve, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it'd be really good because the guy does Star Wars tattoos. It was at Celebration. So it might be interesting to get his stories as we're doing my tattoo, have him tell a few of his Star Wars stories about people that have come in interested in things like that.
Okay, nice.
And then build it out so it's not all like hours on end of just watching me get inked. It's about this guy telling these Star Wars stories and hopefully throw a bit of light on him and what he does, as well as, it's a fun thing for us to do here. But I'm definitely planning something.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
sounds cool. Yeah,
I will reach out to the guy and see what he thinks. I mean, he might just say no, and then it'll all fall flat. But otherwise, it could be quite an interesting little exercise. Paul's right. We should get people to send in pictures of their tattoos.
Yes, indeed.
Be very interested to see them.
Yeah, show them online.
Oh yeah, share them on the Facebook page. That'd be awesome. Okay, thanks for that, Paul. I bet Paul's got a few tattoos. I know he's got a few lightsabers. He's got a very impressive collection. All right, we've got Ads, our friend Ads, the Night of the Commonwealth Ads. We've got a voicemail from him this week.
Oh, cool.
A couple of questions, as Ads is wont to do. So here is that now.
Evening, gentlemen. I hope everyone is well. I'd like to start by just echoing Connor's words of last week. Just massive congratulations, really, to you all and for what you've achieved in the last year. It's been brilliant, and the whole Commonwealth have a place to share their love of Star Wars. So thank you. So moving on, my question for the great minds of Talk Star Wars is, In years to come, when you're all rich and famous and the Star Wars Commonwealth has become second only to StarWars.com itself, which famous actor plays you in a film of your life? And then my second question is, you have to get a tattoo. If so, what do you get a tattoo of, and whereabouts on your body? And I really hope Naked Steve is on this show. Have a good one, lads.
Don't we all?
Take care.
Thanks, Ed.
Someone's sending us a message tonight, aren't they?
There is definitely there is a clear and present message here,
Everybody
and that
wants
is
us to get tattooed.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, Ed's is putting way too much faith in us, thinking that we're going to get rich and famous and rival StarWars.com.
I don't expect to live that long.
No, neither do I. But I expect you to live that long. I personally, I'm going to live forever.
Thanks.
So if that was to happen, they were going to make a movie of the whole Talk Star Wars experience. Which actor would play you?
Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh my god, that's a difficult question. It'd have to be someone our age when we're 90. So
Oh, God, yeah.
the actors won't be alive yet.
Yeah, they will.
Oh,
They have to be our age when we're 90, so
That takes
surely
a
they're
fun
our
out.
age now too.
When we're 90 and we're finally famous, because that's how long it will take.
Right.
Somebody who's 45 would have had to be born today, so I don't know his name.
Ah, good point. Yeah,
Let's
I see what
just
you're
pick
saying.
someone from today's lineup
Okay.
of handsome,
All right.
famous, naked people.
Wasn't I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would I like to play me? It would have to be someone who liked being naked a lot.
Sharon Stone. I don't know if she's got your strong jawline or penis.
Yeah. It's a really tough one. Oh, Luke. I guess Luke. What's his face from Vacancy? Is it
Luke Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Luke
Oh,
Wilson.
that's a really good.
Do you know that's a
really
great
good
shout.
call.
Yeah,
That
I'd
is
never thought
excellent.
about that before, but
Someone's
now that
going to
will
have to
be all I can
Photoshop
think of
this.
that.
Someone's going to have
That's
to Photoshop this. That's brilliant. All right, you've got to come up with something better than Gilbert Gottfried now, then, Rob.
I'm just trying to think of the tattoo. What's the little Ewok in Return of the Jedi?
I'm going to have to tell you what, Mark. I'm going to have to turn the camera back on for this one, just to show, just to be visible when I'm talking to you guys. 'Cause I think this will be a hard sell otherwise.
Let's have a look then. All
so-
right, I'm going on Skype.
Keeping that in mind. Yeah. Just keep an eye on the video bit when it pops up. This is thrilling for the listeners, I know, but obviously you can find my photo. You can find my
what's the Ewok
photo on
called,
Twitter
Mark?
at Rob Wade Vision.
Wicket,
the
mate.
Ewok
Are you talking about
Wicket?
Wicket?
Yes, I've got a tattoo involving Wicket.
Have you?
It ain't good.
Is it on your wicket?
No, just above it, and he'd be touching my like he did.
Video's not happening, is it? All right, so it's not happening. However,
Okay.
I've got a better. I've got an idea that will just work, and the listeners can play along with this one as well. Actually, so you can go to twitter.com/RobWadeVision, and find me there, and then have a look at the picture. I've been told now. I can only speak to. I've been told this. Aaron Eckhart.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. That's another good call.
Maybe the only time I've ever tried to play off it, it didn't really work out because I went to Halloween.
What's that science fiction series? It's actually really good. Expanse.
Oh yeah.
He's brilliant in that.
Hang on, is he in Expanse?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in Expanse. I thought Thomas Jane was in Expanse.
Well, unless he looks just like Aaron Eckhart.
Not
Little,
a million miles.
little bit, but
The Expanse.
okay.
Sure, it's him.
Right. Well, I'm
I'd
gonna
go for Thomas
what
Jane
about
as well.
you?
To be fair.
I'm gonna choose Kiefer Sutherland for no reason other than
Oh, that's a great shout as well.
I'm a-
That's a really good shout.
I'm a huge fan of Kiefer's, so I would.
I think
love
that's
that.
also a good shout anyway.
Well, we have a similar hairline. If,
Fair enough.
I will just cast on hairline alone, but I'm just such a big fan of his. So,
Fair
I
enough.
would-
Good
I would
designated
choose
survivor at the moment.
and let's get to the tattoos of the evening. This seems to be a popular
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to have a tattoo. What is it of, and where is it going?
Oh God, go on, Rob.
I would have Oh, actually, yeah, I know what I'm having. I would have a friend of mine at work's got this tattoo. And it's really cool. It's one of those motivational speeches, like one of those motivational quotes. And it's along the inside of his forearm that sort of runs along from his palm back to his elbow. His is not Star Wars. Mine would be. And mine would be Never Tell Me the Odds.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, that's good.
That would also be my autobiography if I ever get to one. Especially if we ever get rich and famous off this, that would be the incentive to write the autobiography. So that would be my title.
Perhaps I won't tell you the odds of that happening then. Steve, you have to have a tattoo. You can't say anything rude.
It's got to be rude. It's going to be. I don't want a tattoo to be visible, so it's got to be in the crack of my arse. So therefore, it's going to have to be the 2 green laser bolts entering the porthole to blow up the Death Star.
What you're
So that's
you can do the rest of your head.
Just on the edge.
Steve's tattooing the trench run onto his butt. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That is genius.
Do you know how painful that would be? Sorry to put a damper on it, but that would be excruciatingly painful for you.
Yeah, we could do all of the big action scenes on Steve's body. You could have Sarlacc tentacles coming out your belly button.
All involving Orify.
You could even have. Everybody remember the cave slug from Empire?
Yeah. That'd be my. No, that's far too big. No.
Oh, this is going to have shades of After Dark Side all the way through it tonight. Oh, dear.
I think we were all right. We saved ourselves. It's all ambiguous, Mark. Could mean anything.
Yeah, there is that.
It could.
Definitely.
My answer is going to be nowhere near as exciting as that. Or funny, because I'm still going to be going after my half sleeve of beautiful, high quality portraiture from Star Wars.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
No, nowhere near as entertaining as yours, Steve.
Or I'd have a chess piece of Lando.
Or I could do. Who was the spy? Is it Garandan in episode 4?
Hmm.
You could achieve that just with a simple pair of goggles being tattooed somewhere. Okay, let's move on. Who wants to take Matt's question?
Please.
Yeah, let's quickly with ads. Thank you for that. Always a pleasure to receive a question from a knight of the Commonwealth. Rob, do you want to take Matt's question?
So this is from Matt Qui-Gon Keegan. That's good. That rolls off the tongue, actually. I like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Leia is the kid of a queen, but she doesn't know that. So why is she a princess? Did Jimmy Smits marry royalty? That's a good question.
Yeah, nice and concise. Yeah, so why is she a princess?
Do some research.
Yes, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
She's the kid of a queen, but she doesn't know that. So,
royalty doesn't work the same way in the Star Wars universe, though, does it?
This is true. They're elected, aren't they? Yeah.
Well,
no, and the answer is yes. The answer is. Oh, hang on. Switch it back to canon. I'm on Wikipedia for the source of most reliable Star Wars knowledge.
Why would she? She's Leia Organa, isn't she? And she's the adopted daughter of a queen.
Of Bail Organa and Queen Breha Organa. So yeah, the answer is yes. He is married to royalty.
And that's canon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Prince. He's Prince. They've already got. Man, it's saying already. The Wikipedia is saying, warning: this page contains major spoilers from Rogue One. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Just go wide on that stuff then.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, he married royalty. So the answer is yes. He is a prince. He's Prince of Alderaan because obviously when you marry into royalty, you get for some reason you get the secondary title. I don't know why.
Philip.
Yeah, like Philip or I guess Diana she got that far.
She was she became princess, didn't she? But if she
would have been princess. She married in.
I think
it's like
Prince Charles' current wife would be Prince's consort, will she? Or King's consort or something? I'm not sure. I don't.
Yeah, who knows?
It's just so technical, isn't it? But
yeah, exactly.
Steve, you were thinking out loud?
No, I agree with everything Rob said.
Okay.
That was my thought.
Well, considering it's canonical fact, I think that's a good way to go.
She does know she's a princess, doesn't she? I don't know why we think she doesn't.
Yeah, no, she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she knows she's a princess, but she didn't know
Well,
who
she
her
doesn't
mother
realise that
was.
she is still a
I
princess. She's
see what
actually
you
a real
mean.
princess.
Yeah.
But we don't
well.
know if she didn't know. We don't know if she was ignorant to the true identity of her mother throughout.
That's a good point.
Do we? Because she only found out about Darth Vader in Bloodline, but there's no reason why she wouldn't have known that she was the daughter of Padme.
No, you mean Jedi? She finds out about Vader and Jedi.
No, about. She does. No, she does, doesn't she?
Yeah, because Luke tells her.
So what does she learn about in Bloodline when she finds...
The galaxy learns about Vader.
Sorry, yeah, the galaxy learns about Vader when she finds that... it's the other lady, isn't it, that finds that box and sees that was told to her by Bale.
Yes.
So, yeah, she there's no reason why she has to be ignorant of Padme's identity, though, is there? Because Padme and Anakin's relationship was secret.
Yes, exactly. And also, we talked about, Shmi and Luke last week.
Yeah.
And we said that Owen and Beru would have no reason to lie about Shmi because there wasn't much to tell.
No, in fact,
they were already lying about the father, so there wasn't really any. They weren't gonna adjust the lie for that, they could just leave it as it was, and that'd be fine.
So there's no reason why she wouldn't have known Padme's identity her whole life. So she could feasibly have known that she was actually from Naboo,
originally from a former queen, because actually she was a senator by the time Leia was born, wasn't she?
Yeah, because her elected time in office as queen was over.
Yeah. It's more like a head of state, really, in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Royalty. Yeah, it is odd.
Maybe they'll lean on the royalty a little bit more in Rogue One.
Maybe.
With Bale. But there's a photograph of him later in the show notes.
Oh, cool.
And he's it's the first image of his wardrobe for the film.
So
very, very bland. Cool. Okay, so there you go, Matt. Sorry about all the interruptions in there, but we had some technical difficulties, right? Which we're about to experience again as we try to go to our second voicemail of the week. This is from James at Tumbling Saber.
Good evening, gentlemen. James here from the Tumbling Saber. Want to wish you guys another terrific show, and I've got a very easy, light question this week. Although we haven't seen too much of it in the GFFA, smoking certainly must be a thing. One of those planets lush with life must be able to grow tobacco, etc. So I'm going to offer up that I think Han would be a Marlboro man, and Obi-Wan would prefer a long stem pipe, maybe some Shire pipeweed. What do you guys think? Who would be a smoker, and what would they smoke? Have another terrific show, guys. Can't wait to hear it.
Did you hear Jones's baby in there?
I did, yeah.
There was a Google there.
That was awesome, wasn't it? So cute.
Yeah. Little baby noise at the end.
The youngest guest ever to grace Talk Star Wars.
Yeah, James's little one's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gorgeous kids.
Well, Princess Leia smokes, obviously, because she's very husky at the last one.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe she's the Marlboro man.
Yeah. I think Lando would.
Oh, he would smoke Slims, wouldn't he?
He would smoke. I was just about to say that. I think he would do mint as well.
Okay.
He'd definitely have a little nuance of mint in there.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Because he'd have the fresh breathy thing going on.
Yeah.
Trying to offset the... I don't see Han as a smoker.
Double that. Oh.
Well, he's a bit
definitely right on the Luke.
I think that James might be right there with the Han being the Marlboro man, because he's very much
I can go with that.
Cowboy
Definitely.
sort of archetype, isn't he?
Yeah.
What about Maz Kanata smoking cigars? Something about that image just kind of works for me.
Yeah, she's let the smoke go on her face a bit. I know that.
Yeah, because she's only 30. It just really is just not very forgiving.
Years old.
He's been running that watering hole for 1,000 years.
Yeah. So we do see some smokers, don't we? There's some hookers being smoked in A New Hope and Jabba
I think
has one.
Force Awakens must have some.
You'd think they would have realised the downside of smoking in that galaxy.
Well, what's weird is Jabba, I think, smokes, and isn't it supposed to suppress your weight?
Yeah. Yeah, but he's doing.
He might have been 97 tons.
Yeah, he's doing some offset with calorie intake, isn't he? That's what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's so worried about wasting away through his smoking habit. He just gets through like a ton of frogs every day.
See Obi-Wan as a roll-up man.
Do you think?
Okay.
What about
I mean,
Yoda?
maybe in his Tatooine years he might be a roll-up guy.
He'd been rolling his own, yeah, because he wouldn't have been able to get. He wouldn't have been able to get. You know.
That's my thing. Is like he probably wouldn't want to venture out too far, just to get his cigarettes.
You can see him sitting in his man cave, spitting out the little bits of tobacco where he hasn't got any filters left.
Yeah, and all those little patches on his robes in New Hope are from where he's fallen asleep with a cigarette on. Mm. They're not actually just wear and tear.
Which person would do the chewing tobacco then?
Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett. And
Boba Fett would be a chewer.
He keeps spitting with his helmet on.
Funny. It's great minds think alike. I was just thinking about chewing. Not as in I want to. I just mean I was thinking about which character would do it. I think Boba Fett would be the guy.
Yeah, but what? He's always got his helmet on.
Yeah, but not behind closed doors. He probably hasn't.
I can't ever imagine. That's why I've got a problem with a Boba Fett film, because I can't imagine watching him with his helmet for 2 hours.
That'd be Tamura Morrison, wouldn't it? Let's get him in. He can do it.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not.
Maybe they do the Judge Dredd style thing where they keep it on.
Yeah, but it works when you've got a charismatic actor doing it. But I'm not sure. I've never found Boba Fett that enthralling to watch.
No, that's fair enough.
I know that's blasphemy, but
no, it's kind of come back into vogue to be cool again, but
it's not confirmed, is it? A Boba Fett film?
No. Although there was what it was, they came out and said that they had a teaser trailer put together, and then they just kind of shelved it. We were talking about it last week, actually, and we were sort of speculating about why that might be. What do you think of this, Steve? I had a theory that it might be because Deadpool, which is kind of themed on a mercenary for hire who's a sort of wisecracker and stuff, was so successful, they decided they wanted to go back and rethink it and come back to it maybe from a different tack.
Yeah, but
maybe I don't know. It's a pure shot in the dark speculation. I have no basis for that. Just pure.
The only reason Deadpool worked so well is because it was an R/18.
Yeah, so maybe they were going for a grittier take on Boba Fett, and then they realised, no, this won't work.
Down again, like they've done with Rogue One, allegedly.
Yeah,
that was
maybe
PG-13, wasn't it?
It is PG-13. It's 12A still, I think.
So what was it before? Because wasn't it supposed to be one higher, and then they dropped it because
they hadn't rated it at that point.
I think there's a bit of leeway within your certification, so you can still get a 12A in the UK, and you can push the content right up tonally.
You can bomb once,
but probably what they're going to end up going for is kind of a light 12A. So there won't be any profanity. There certainly won't be any nudity, but the harshness of the violence
would be slightly
might be what they've toned down.
Would be peril. Like Sith. Sith is a 12A.
Well, you'll be pleased to know I watched a TFA earlier this evening.
Okay.
In preparation, and I actually thought, wow, this is quite violent because there's a lot of killing going on.
Yeah. Well, that's a 12A too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
go.
It's
kind of that wasn't tonally that weak.
No. But that's the thing. It's like that and Revenge of the Sith are both 12As.
Yeah, and that's the Revenge of the Sith is even worse.
It's pretty dark. Yeah.
What shall we do? You could die, you little beep.
Thanks
Cut
for
you in half, you poor acting little
what I'm going to do is leave. What you're going to do is probably bleed out.
What you're going to do is be split in 5 pieces.
Yeah.
Did we?
Only because there's so little, otherwise it'd be 12.
When I checked out of this conversation, we were talking about smoking.
Yeah. Well, they would be.
There's a slight tangent there.
Yeah, they would be smoking.
Oh, it was Boba Fett, wasn't it? Yeah. Those children would have been smoking for a short while.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can't believe we've got so much mileage out of the smoking question that has nothing to do with Star Wars. But it's a very good question. I don't want to take anything away from Chris Windu.
No,
or indeed someone that is in fact asking the question.
Which was James. You had 2 choices there looking at the show notes, didn't you? And you got it wrong.
I've got my glasses on.
Okay. Steve, do you want to take Chris? Thank you, James, by the way.
Yes, thank you, James.
That was a very fun question.
James, let me know what you think of Maz Kanata smoking a big fat cigar, because I certainly think that's what she does.
Definitely got dog's bum face instead of dog's bum mouth.
She's got smoker skin, that's for sure. Steve, do you want to take Chris Windu Holland's question?
Yeah. Well, hi guys, thanks for answering both my questions. I binged 3 podcasts on a walk. Bloody hell, where did he go? Ended up 12 miles from home in the rain and had to get a bus back. Wow. Oh my God. Are we really doing that to people?
We're so engaging that they just forget. They lose track of everything.
Or they're sleepwalking.
That too.
Big thanks for my Jedi name too. Very honoured. Do you think that the Death Star will have a gravitational effect on Scarif? From the promo pics, it looks incredibly close. Given that it's been referred to as a small moon in other films, I could understand that for storytelling, something like that would be ignored in favour of the main armament being the threat. Also, why do blasters shoot different coloured bolts? Is it to do with the size or power? Keep up the great work from Dave. Oh, no, that's it. Yeah. I'm reading on. Yeah, Chris Windu Holland.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. Can I jump in first?
Yeah, do it.
Well, in light of Independence Day Resurgence, which kind of dealt with this quite closely in that there was a 3,000-mile big ship that went close and everything kind of went up.
Yeah.
It would never go up unless the gravitational effect of it was greater than that of the planet, but it might weaken. You would feel lighter, but an object sitting on the ground that wasn't alive wouldn't know any difference because it would still be sitting on the ground unless the Death Star had more mass than the planet. Okay. But I do think he's right. Maybe they'll touch on this, and maybe that's why in the trailers, a certain scene where a big landscape blows up doesn't seem to be sort of falling that quickly. I don't know.
Yeah, that might just be scale of and I think that's Jeddah that we're seeing that explosion that you're talking about, and that just might be scale where it looks like it's moving in slow motion. Something Gareth Edwards does very well with scale.
Could be another explanation for why everything's crumbling and shattering as well.
Yeah, could be.
I'm more inclined to think that's that super laser.
Yeah, but the super laser would be a quicker result, wouldn't it?
I think I know the answer though.
Depends what the intention of that Death Star is. Yeah. If it's to destroy the planet, then it would have been as quick as Alderaan. If it was just to destroy the atmosphere, which is what I've been saying for a little while, then that might be what we're seeing in progress.
Yeah.
But Star Wars never deals with the laws of physics.
Of course it doesn't. It will not allow that to slow it down.
No, this won't. They won't have gravity in this because it doesn't really. They don't think of things like that. I mean, they've got sound in space. They've got, when Finn gets on the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens, she says, "Oh, the gunner's seat's down there," and then he's sitting upright, facing down, with no gravitational effect before they even left the planet, or before the Millennium Falcon's even switched on. So they don't deal with gravity very well. I don't think they'll even bother with it.
The sort of gravitation, when I read Chris's question, the sort of gravitational effect I was imagining him having in mind was a celestial object being that close to the planet would affect like the tides and things like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get
but there is a huge shield around Scarif, a huge energy shield protecting it.
Maybe that's what
with an opening, right? I've seen that on a picture.
There's that
maybe
ring,
that's what it is.
Which looks like a space station. That ring that we see a space battle around that ring, don't we? The X-wing fighters and what have you. That is a portal down. And Matt Keegan called this weeks ago. He said, "Do you think that's what that is?" And I said, "I don't think it is, because I just read Rogue One, the Catalyst book, the Rogue One prequel, and they described like this little docking bay for the Death Star, and it looked for the whole world like they were describing that ring that we see in the trailer." So I thought, I don't know, I think that's just this docking bay for where they can work on the Death Star.
Yeah,
but no, it turns out he's absolutely right that's a portal down to the surface of Scarif. So maybe that energy field protects the planet from the gravitational effects of the Death Star being so close by.
Yeah. Also, the thing to remember is the Death Star is 90% air rather than 100% mass, as a planet would be, because it's full of rooms and great big central chambers, and
it's only the crust of it that's full of rooms. The heart of that thing is like the hyperdrive and the super weapon. It's only the crust of the Death Star.
Yeah, but I imagine they're not going to make it solid, are they?
No, not solid. No, you're right, not solid.
So it would have a relatively probably 1% mass to a planet because it's the smallest Death Star as well.
Yeah, it's not like it's a small moon, but it's not as dense as a moon, so it wouldn't have as much mass as a moon. Yeah, go on.
You know, when they in TFA they talk about they get the Death Star up and then they go look at the new one, it's massive.
Yeah.
And are they referencing the size of the silly one in the new one to the second Death Star or the first one?
First Death Star.
Yeah, the second Death Star was incomplete, so you would have been seeing the incomplete model.
Oh, good point. Thank you very much. Answer that question.
That's why it comes to Star Wars.
Plus, that was bigger, as you taught us. So that would have been.
Yes, it was.
Wouldn't have been as impressive.
No.
So how much would have? Yes, how much would the second Death Star have compared to? Was how much bigger than the first one was that? You don't really ever find out, do you?
No, I can't remember.
You don't find out.
It's in the novelization of Jedi, I think.
Yeah, it's like.
I think it's twice the size.
Yeah, I was going to say I want to say two between 2 and 4 times. Let's have a look.
Okay, you get on that.
I will.
And because you're our man for everything.
Yeah. And while you're there,
Star Wars related.
The second point, the laser bolts.
Yeah.
This has always bugged me.
Is that anything to do with the same reason that lightsabers are different colours? Because I don't say there's crystals in them, but something along those lines?
I don't know for sure, but I'm willing to bet it's different technology, which is why the turbo lasers on the Death Star and all the Stormtrooper rifles fire green.
Yeah.
And
does it make sense? Because if you were an army, you'd want to say to your enemy, look, there's no point us lot all firing the same colour. We won't know where anyone is.
There's not paintball.
No, but the armies do that. They have an agreement what colour they're in the same way football teams do.
Right.
You have to have a different colour.
So what if the Empire are having an away battle? But then yellow
Send the
lasers.
away team. Oh, they've got the away kit's really similar to the home kit. Should we wear the third kit?
In the snow, they have to have orange lasers.
Yeah,
like they would have an orange ball.
No good. Yep.
I'm making a very serious point then.
You were, sorry, I trampled all over it. I think there's probably different technology at play. But it has always bugged me that the bad guys have the green lasers, and then the good guys have the green lightsabers, and the bad guys have the red lasers.
Yeah.
And
it's all a bit weird, isn't it?
What colour are the good guys' lasers then? Red?
Red, yeah. Ooh. Same with, actually with the handheld blasters, it's all red, isn't it?
The Stormtroopers.
Except for in the Clone Wars.
Maybe there's a little dial, and you can dial up whatever colour you want.
Maybe just download the pack from iTunes. Get yourself a little add-on.
I'll tell you what it could be is some of the colours are DLC, and you have to pay for them separately.
Yeah, they F you at the drive-through. I'm being very good tonight, Mark.
You are very good. I'm just going to have a look and see if I can find a shot from one of the movies that shows me a laser.
Let me look at the second bit then while you're... that's what we're doing, isn't it? There's nothing else. I can't talk amongst myself when Rob's Googling and Mark's looking for pictures.
Oh, I'm finished with that, by the way. It's a third. It was a third larger.
You've left the wrong person in charge, Mark.
Yeah. Left the wrong man at the wheel.
It was a third.
Talk about my big tangent, my debugging.
I found it just before I want to hear about that, but I found that the second Death Star was a third larger, so it's 160 kilometers diameter versus 120 for the first Death Star.
Right, and you know what? I never knew. I thought it would be considerably larger.
And Stormtroopers have red laser bolts in A New Hope, so we're all kinds of wrong. I need to actually, before we get to your debunking, Steve, I'm just going to do a little, not so much a retraction, but I'm going to walk back something we said last week. We were talking about Shmi's grave last week and said that there's no way Anakin or Darth Vader would go back to Tatooine because of Shmi's grave. And that being the first step he took towards the dark side, and the fact that would haunt him so much, he could never go back there. I started reading the Darth Vader comic books this week.
Oh, no.
I picked up volume 1 and 2, for $3.99 each.
Oh, superb.
Yeah, I was very pleased with that.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, page 1, Darth Vader rocking up on Tatooine. So,
oh dear.
Totes
of course,
wrong.
he goes to see Jabba, doesn't he?
He goes to see Jabba, so
such an idiot.
And it's canon, so there's no way out of that. I'm surprised no one pulled us up on it, actually, but you can't at this stage. We're still trying to get caught up. We can't know everything about canon, but
this is true. I should be more up to speed. I got Marvel Unlimited now. There's no excuse.
Yeah, it's there's a good book as well, by the way. I mean,
the Vader one's great.
I'm enjoying it very much. So. Why do blasters shoot different coloured bolts? Rob, did you get a chance to have a look on Wikipedia or Wikipedia?
I didn't actually look. Let's have a look.
We could park it and come back with an answer next week.
Well, let's do your debunking whilst Rob comes back to us.
I'm on one of my own moans about The Force Awakens, and
good.
when I watched it tonight, I realised that the answer I don't think we've discussed, and I think it might be a quite interesting, although you guys have probably thought of it. Right, I said, the navigational charts really annoyed me because it's like, everyone knows that the galaxy, and it's no big secret, is it, where the planets are? They've already got 90% of it. Just go and search that area, blah, blah, blah. Particularly the Rebellion, because they had the bit outside of the bit that was missing.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the bit in the middle.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, they had the bit in the middle and they didn't have the big bit.
Yes.
Right? Which I thought, well, that's weird. Because you've got the bit in the middle. You've only got to match up the stars on the big bit. But anyway, long story short, when I was watching it, I realised that Kylo Ren says to Rey, you have a small part of the navigational charts. And then I heard something I hadn't heard before. And he says, the rest we restored from the Empire's archives.
Yeah.
So my feeling then was like, no one's got a map of the galaxy. It died with the Empire and all those archives that stupid woman worked in. If it doesn't exist, it's not there, whatever she said.
Yeah.
Silly man. But the point is, I don't think, and also it got me thinking about planets. Maybe all the planets that are inhabitable are just in a small area around where they are now. And that there isn't anyone or any big civilizations outside of that area. So no one has actually got a full map yet, again, since the archives.
It could be, it could be a little bit like the old Nazi book burning with the Emperor. Maybe he's trying to keep everybody ignorant. But there does seem to be an awful lot of sort of smuggling and
it made me
trade
feel better
routes and that kind of things. Well, if it makes you feel better, then we'll just go with it. But
yeah, because I thought, well, actually, they've covered that now. They've said, no one knows that the map of the galaxy, and actually, the only reason they've got a little bit of it is because they had to restore it, and he actually uses the word restore or another similar word that means the same thing. And I thought, actually, that's quite good. And there's loads of little incidental stuff like that that's lost in that film until you watch it 100 times.
Yeah, well, we're well on our way.
But it was quite interesting. And it did debunk what I said, my moaned about everyone would have that map and you could just slot it in. It was like having a big puzzle and then one missing piece and somebody going, here's the missing piece. Well, where do I put that? Right in the bloody hole. It was really annoying me, but hopefully maybe I'm making it up to make myself feel better. I don't know. What are your thoughts, listeners?
Rob, have you got anything for us on the
blasters?
Yeah.
No, I had a quick look, and there doesn't seem, from my initial cursory glance, to be anything in the way of a canon explanation. And actually, I've seen a few forums where people are annoyed about the fact that there is no explanation, and the fact that the colours get reversed depending on what kind of weapon's being used. So you're not the only one, Mark, who it bugs.
Yeah.
My gut feeling is the manufacturers of these weapons obviously want as many colours as possible because they're all the same colour. People are going to go, well, I don't want the same colour as everyone else. I want something different.
Yeah, true.
Who I'm shooting.
Well, with the lightsabers, it's a bit different, isn't it? Because I don't know if they kept it in, but they used to have ranks associated with each colour, depending on the personality type of the user.
And
I don't know if that's still canon.
That person moaning would be from South London, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, I know that, mate. Give me another colour. So, yeah.
Colour specific.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That was. Why did I get distracted? What was I doing?
Well, you want to read Dave Landover now?
Dave Donovan. Dave Landonovan. Do you want me to do this one?
Yeah, go for it. It's your go, mate.
Okay, here we go. Chris, thank you very much for your questions, sir.
Yes,
we had to do some live research, as you may have heard. All right, this is from Dave. If you could pick a director for Star Wars standalone film, who would you pick? I'd love to see Guillermo del Toro direct one. Imagine something like Jabba's Palace being directed by him. I think we've discussed that before on a show, haven't we?
We may have done this on the previous episode, but then, this may be somebody's first episode, so we should...
Of course, every episode is someone's
approach it afresh. And also our opinions might have changed.
Indeed. There's lots of stuff in Rebels and Clone Wars that he could take on and bring to the big screen and make it brilliant. If we ever get a Luke standalone film about his 30 years in exile, I'd want him to direct it. Imagine what Guillermo del Toro could do with a Bendu or some weird creatures like that. It would be awesome. So what do we think, guys? Let's kick out what sort of feature we'd like to see a director do and then what director you'd like to see do it.
Well, I'd like to see a film that was a slightly more adult in tone.
I'm interested to see how much of this correlates with what I'm about to say.
And for that reason, Guillermo's out for me.
Okay.
But I would love to see, in this order, first of all, my ultimate director would be James Cameron.
Okay.
And then second to that, Christopher Nolan.
All
right.
Okay. Yeah.
You want something more adult? So you want James Cameron, director of Space Fern Gully?
No, I don't
Smurfs
think I'm
in space.
even going to.
That's what you want.
Yeah, don't be mean to Steve.
I'm kidding. Obviously,
when Avatar blows Episode 8 out of the water financially in 2018, because
it's already doing that. It's going to do that in budget, from what I've heard.
It will. 2018 now. It has a date, but I know this is a Star Wars thing, so we won't.
I've heard it has a budget too. A big budget.
Yes, a big budget.
Big budget. I can't wait. I think James Cameron can keep the rating down. It's called the rating, isn't it? The certification down, but can still make a film very appealing to adults rather than just children. In fact, spans the entire ages. But I would love to see him do it. Can you imagine how good it would be? It would be perfect pitch, action scene after action scene with very little mistakes, very little what? Where did that come from? I don't understand that bit. There's a lot in Star Wars Force Awakens that, like it or not, I mean, it's a great movie, but you do have to watch it several times to pick it apart. And off the bat, you would think that doesn't make sense. But then when you watch it again, it's like, oh, I see why. Right, that's that canon bit. And I think he would make it a lot more easily digestible.
Okay.
That's my piece, and I've said it.
What? Lovely. Good piece, mate. Good piece. Well done.
Lovely job.
Lovely.
Rob,
lovely.
What would you like to see, and who would you like to see do it?
I would like to see something set in 1313, and I want Fincher to direct it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fincher.
I've said Fincher before, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted, but I've decided now that I would like something set in the kind of the underworld of Coruscant, and I'd like it to be Fincher.
And what sort of time period?
Galactic Civil War. So between episode 3, I guess between episode 3 and 4.
That'd be cool.
Mark?
I would like to see somebody take on the Ahsoka story.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if I'd like to see. I mean, the name Patty Jenkins keeps coming to mind, and I can't remember if she's still attached to that Wonder Woman project. Who's directing Wonder Woman at the moment? Let's have a quick look.
Can't think.
The only thing I know about Wonder Woman is Gal Gadot, and that's all I need to know.
Now, she is fantastic in that role.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick.
I think she's
look.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is. I'm right. I I couldn't remember
Patty
if she'd
Jenkins, yeah,
left.
still involved.
So I would like to see Patty Jenkins direct an Ahsoka movie.
Okay. What
because,
era?
I would say
The same era, wasn't it?
Post leaving the Jedi. So last week we sort of mentioned maybe she might cross paths with Han in that movie. Might be that could be what Emilia Clarke. I don't think for a second that's what Emilia Clarke's. Right, no, I don't. I don't think that's what that role is going to be. But I would like to see something about Ahsoka after she'd walked away from the Order. So perhaps around the Jedi Purge.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
The book tells some great stuff. It's easily one of my favourites of new canon. That book is, and she's an incredible character. And I would love to see a new actress come out of nowhere with no baggage, like Daisy Ridley did when she came to Rey, so that we can really fall in love with her. And then have, I know Kathleen Kennedy wants this to happen, have a really talented female director who can turn her hand to a big budget film. I know they're a little bit concerned at the moment that someone's going to take on a project like Star Wars, and the first one that falls is going to be a lady. You really don't want to set somebody up to fail.
Yeah.
But look at what Patty Jenkins is doing with Wonder Woman. That's not
looks really cool.
That is not a small film. It's a gigantic film, a huge budget. It easily rivals what an Ahsoka movie would be. In fact, it probably dwarfs what an Ahsoka movie would be in terms of budget. And it's about time we saw it. And I hope that that's something that gets announced next year, that we might see that. Everybody loves Ahsoka. Everybody wants to see that movie move forward.
Yeah.
And I know that most purists would like to see Dave Filoni handle that.
Right.
But who can tell a woman's story better than a woman? So let's see that happen.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to direct it to be involved heavily.
No, let him write. Let him exec produce.
Yeah.
He's a showrunner.
Supervise or whatever. Yeah.
So let's let somebody else, some fresh blood come in. The sort of faith that they're showing in people like Gareth.
Yeah.
And what the faith that they had shown in Josh Trank. Let's see that directed towards a really talented lady, and let's get another strong female character in the Star Wars universe, and Ahsoka.
I thought of another one actually that I'd like to see.
Go for it.
One about clone troopers, directed by Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
I was going to say Catherine Bigelow.
Oh my God,
I couldn't remember her name. All I could remember was the film with the bombs.
Yeah, Hurt Locker.
Yes, thank you.
Well, wouldn't this be a good idea? This is what happens when the Talk Star Wars hive mind kicks into gear. What about Catherine Bigelow directing a war movie set in the Clone Wars with Ahsoka as a central character?
Ooh.
And then her leading the 501st, or
that would work
into battle. I know Anakin
do you
gives
know
her
they
the
could
501st.
tell the story of the Siege of Mandalore that didn't make it into as cut from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, would that not be too deep a cut for people that hadn't seen the Clone Wars? They'd have to hit the ground. It could just be a skirmish, couldn't it? And your entry into it is it's a story being told from the Clone Wars, so I guess it doesn't really matter. As long as it doesn't rely too much on Maul, because people aren't going to, when they come to the live action version, they're not going to get their head around that.
So based on all these directors, so if we had to choose a director for the prequels when they remake them, which director would you assign to each film? So we would say Bigelow for Clone Wars.
No, we are talking about a separate Clone Wars project, Steve, not
I know,
the Attack of the
if you had to
Clones.
assign the directors we've been talking about to episode 1, 2, and 3. Which ones would you assign?
Fincher to episode 3.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Very dark.
Yeah. Bigelow or Jenkins to Attack of the Clones, because you got that love story in there as well
And
that
then
needs to be handled well.
Cameron to Phantom Menace.
Good fit.
It would have kicked it off with
That's a really good fit, actually.
They all fit really well, don't they?
Yeah, of the ones we've talked about, that would work.
You got that underwater scene on Naboo.
Yeah, which would have been done right. There's always a bigger fish.
Camera strength. Well, there you go. Oh, we did it.
Always a bigger critic.
Look at that. I was really worried about that question as well. Because it's so difficult to sort of be able to match somebody to. I mean, JJ was kind of natural fit to Star Wars, but it's so difficult to sort of find someone.
Well, I was going to say Ang Lee, but I couldn't really slot him in anywhere.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he's brilliant. I mean, there is a lot
hyper stylized.
Yeah, and there is a lot of Japanese martial arts basis in Star Wars anyway, and he does choreography brilliantly, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, but
there's
anyway,
a Jedi towel there. That's great. Dave, you knocked it out of the park once again, my friend. Thank you for that.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Right, Steve, do you want to take Spencer's comment and question? Because obviously we're going to have Rob do Connor's Corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Spencer Berry. Hey guys, thanks for reading my message out on episode 50. Blimey. And I have a question for you guys. Any ideas on what episode 8 is going to be called? By the way, congrats on reading the video. Thank you very much. Yours faithfully, Spencer. Also, do you think Rey will have a new lightsaber or keep Anakin's? That's a good question as well.
That is a great question.
Good questions tonight. That is a really good question.
And a lot of the good stuff is coming in the form of PSs as well. If it's not
I'm
about
so glad I don't
tattoos.
read this.
It's sort of Columbo, isn't it? And another thing.
Yeah.
Just one more thing.
Right. Well, we have covered possible episode 8 titles previously, but has recent developments changed anybody's position on what they think this next movie might be called?
Well, what was the consensus? The main one that we all kind of, because I can't remember now, of what we said. That's a great name. What was it? Because I remember we kind of came to a.
Yeah, we did several of them, didn't we?
Yeah.
We sort of gone around Rise of the First Order and all that sort of stuff, didn't we? I kept coming back, I think, to Balance of the Force. That's something I keep coming back to now.
Balance of the Force, based on things like what's happening in Rebels.
Well, also like they talk about that in the beginning of episode 7, don't they, Rob? With the guy Ming the Merciless. I never can remember his name.
Lord Santeca.
Yes.
Yeah, without the Jedi, there can be no balance.
Yes. Yeah. So it would be quite pertinent.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
And a lot of Kylo's character was built around his natural balance.
Yeah.
Now, what about towards there is a big elephant in the room here, and there has been across the whole series.
Episode 8, the elephant in the room.
Yes.
The bantha.
Obviously Anakin was supposed to be the one to bring balance to the Force. We've discussed this at length about who it really is, because they kind of missed the boat on.
It's Anakin. Down. We've discussed this.
Balance, if we're talking about Rey potentially being that, they need to kind of introduce it, and maybe they'll use the title to do that. Yes, I don't know, but maybe something about, because it's a mid trilogy film, something to do with the dark and the light. What about the dark and the light?
That's too generic. The Star Wars titles are usually quite stylized, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll follow on from The Force Awakens. It'll be episode 8. I'm awake.
I'm up already.
Oh, yeah.
My money's on Balance of the Force.
Yeah.
And
okay.
If I got that right, I would quit.
I don't know.
There's no better than that.
Twice. They've already used it in the first one.
The what? Sorry.
They wouldn't use the word Force again.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Oh God! Yeah.
What about the Call of the Dark?
Yeah, the Call of the Dark.
Call of the Dark.
But what does Kylo say on the bridge that's quite pivotal to this? He mentions, when also he's talking about the light, the pull of the light. Maybe the pull of the light, or is it too late for him to have that pull now because he's done the deed?
It's also the middle act as well. It has to sort of snap.
Something striking back. Because that's what we're thinking of, isn't it?
Well, it has to be. I mean, we've had attack and we've had strike back. They're the, they're sort of.
What about the First Order rises?
Yeah, could do. What about Wrath of the First Order?
Yeah, Wrath of the First Order.
No, it's too much like Wrath of Khan from episode number 2 in Star Trek.
Rise of the Dark Side.
That. Rise of the Dark Side, maybe. Yeah. I think one thing that's going to be key is I was thinking about this the other day actually, because obviously turn over these things in our heads a lot because that's what we do. I was thinking about Force Awakens and how the acts of the First Order actually just leveled the playing field. They didn't, they kind of destroyed the center of the Republic and sent the galaxy into disarray. But there's actually a kind of comparable military force on each side by the end of the Force Awakens because they destroy Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that this is the one where they're going to go in with, you know, in some ways relatively evenly matched, whereas they didn't have that before. I found that interesting.
What about the Jedi Return?
It's really close.
To Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Really close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too close. I mean, if you're saying they're going to be worried about using the word Wrath because it's going to put off, you know.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Luke coming back because surely this is what this is all about. He's already been a bit miffed that he wasn't in the first one. Are they going to say, right, we're going to put you right at the front now. We're going to name it after you as well. Like, I don't know. It may be something with Jedi in it because you've had obviously the Force. I don't know.
What about Return of the Mac? With the subtitles, I think you knew that I'd be back.
It's pretty clear that we're never going to get anywhere near. Maybe when we start to get whispers of what the theme of the movie is going to be, but there's so little to go on at the moment, isn't there?
I mean, you could literally go on. Yeah, you could go on forever, couldn't you? It's a great question because it does get you thinking about.
I'm sure there's a formula there.
How they're gonna, I'm
sure there's a formula.
If you could guess the name, then you'd probably guess the story for the episode 8 as well.
Yeah,
and that's the difficulty, isn't it?
Well,
what about Whispers of the Jedi?
It's quite. The Whispers is weak, and it's just that second episode. It's got to be dynamic. Empire Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones is dynamic. It's about doing. It's about action. It's about.
Yeah.
It's got energy, and I can't imagine what's going to happen with the First Order. What
about Rise of the Jedi?
It's not going to happen yet, though.
Luke and Rey. They've been quiet for 30 years.
I don't know. I was thinking of one just now. The fight for the galaxy, or something like that. Because obviously, like I say, they're going to be more evenly matched than in previous movies.
Yeah.
What about Rey and Luke kiss ass and chew bubblegum, and they're all out of bubblegum?
I wonder if the word legacy could work its way into the title anyway.
Oh, that could be good. Legacy of the Force feels like the episode 9 title, though.
Yeah. Or Legacy of the Sith. Who's doing all the tip tapping in the background?
That's not me.
Might be Jen. He's wrapping Christmas presents.
What's she wrapping them in? Bubble wrap?
No, she's not wrapping them in bubble wrap.
And Rice Krispies? and a donkey eating a carrot?
I'll try and mute it for a few seconds.
I was trying to think of some more.
Okay, let's get to the second part of the question then. Do you think Rey will have a new lightsaber, or will she keep Anakin's?
Maybe they'll be having a tug of war with it at the beginning. I never thought you'd take it out of my hand.
They do that thing where she puts her hand on the bottom, then his goes in the middle, and hers goes next, and whoever can get the last hand on it.
Yeah, and then they accidentally kill Luke with it.
Yeah,
and he goes, "What? I'm not even in this one either."
Falls over the cliff.
And there's your title.
We're all just like, you what, mate?
Star Wars Episode 7, I'm not even in this one either.
Oh, there you go. Luke gets dialogue, Episode 8.
Yeah. I suspect there was a rumour early on that Luke would take... The lightsaber would float out of Rey's hand as Luke took it with the Force. But then he took it apart and he took the crystal out of the centre. Now, I think that's been debunked as being nonsense. But I do think that weapon will go back to Luke.
Yeah, I think so.
Whether it's temporary or not.
I think if she bypasses a step of the process, then she can't be a Jedi yet. Because that's part of the trials, isn't it?
What, making
Luke could be making your own one.
Yeah. Yeah. So she'll have to craft her own weapon at some point. I think there might be something to do with that. Her ability with the staff. Mm-hmm. Maybe she'll have a Darth Maul style twin-bladed lightsaber.
I'd be cool with that. That sounds like it makes perfect sense.
Because it's in keeping with her ability.
It's a bit of a cheat, though, isn't it, having the twin-bladed one. It's like, I'm not good enough beat you with one, so I'll have two.
Mm.
Well, that's
The
not so much
Darth
that. I
Maul-
mean, it suits. I'm sure there is somebody, maybe a listener who's a bit more familiar with, things like fencing and fighting and things like that, could probably explain why it's useful to have two. But there's pros and cons to it, isn't there? Presumably.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen other characters use two lightsabers, and they've been two separate. Ahsoka had two lightsabers. Asajj Ventress had two lightsabers.
That she did.
Anakin's both female characters. It'd be good
Anakin's,
to see with two lightsabers that connect to form the lightsaber staff, but then can be broken off to be a single lightsaber at the same time, like two separate lightsabers at the same time. That would be visually really interesting to see somebody switching it up.
Yeah.
In the middle of a lightsaber duel, to just connect those things, and suddenly you're into staff fighting, and then break them in two again, and then you've got all the twirls and all those flourishes.
They do that in there's something in Legends where there's somebody with a pair of single sabers that click together.
But that's what we need to see. That's what we need to see on screen.
I'd be game for that. She's a salvager,
Yeah.
It makes sense that she'd be able to cobble together something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to make a little bold prediction. I think the title might have the word legacy in it. And
yeah, it could be.
Let's see Rey construct twin lightsabers that connect into a staff.
I'll tell you what, actually, I've got one more title.
Go on then.
The Shadow of Vader.
The Shadow of Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shadow. Would be
or something along that, something to that effect.
Shadow of the Sith.
See, it's Vader specifically that I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it's because he's the important one, because obviously Kylo Ren's in his shadow.
Legacy of Darth Vader.
Yeah, maybe.
Legacy of the Dark Side.
I still feel like Legacy will turn up in number 9 as theme.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, Steve's just jumped off for a second, so this looks like a really good place to take a break. Thank you, Spencer. Thanks, everyone, for your questions this week. Sorry if we've been a bit
on that
scattered.
subject, actually, because Ads was very kind and sort of echoed Connor's sentiments. Thank all of you. Because, it's
we
all
don't
well
make
and good.
It to 50 episodes without the sort of support that we've been getting.
Exactly. I meant to say it during the actual point where Ad's question came in, but I got waylaid by something else, probably fact checking on Wikipedia.
That has been your job this evening.
That's definitely been a thing. But yeah, no, it's all well and good to send kindness our way, and we are grateful for it. But we would be without you, we're nothing.
Literally, because if you hadn't noticed, then for the past sort of 6 or 8 months, the show has been predominantly listener generated.
Yeah, totally.
You guys write into us and give us things to talk about, and we love talking about them. And I've said this before, it enriches our experience of Star Wars fandom. So to know you guys are getting something out of it as well, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Rob. Thank you to everyone that takes the time to join us every week. It's very much appreciated. Keep those questions coming because it's so much fun.
Yeah, too right.
All right, let's jump off to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get straight into Connor's Corner. If you'd like to support what we do here at Talk Star Wars, you can do so by becoming a TSW sponsor. For as little as £1 per month given securely via PayPal, you can help us keep the lights on here at TSW. When you become a TSW sponsor, we will elevate you to VIP status. As a TSW VIP, you'll get access to an exclusive stream that provides you with fun downloads like HD wallpapers for your desktop, tablet and mobile device, ringtones and text alerts courtesy of our very own audio Jedi at Rob Wade Vision. You'll also receive a monthly newsletter with news about what's going on here at Talk Star Wars, and you'll get a priority release of the new Star Wars audio commentary series called TSW Feature Comms. All this for as little as £1 per month. Head to talkstarwars.co.uk/support and become a TSW sponsor today, and the Force will be with you always.
And we're back. So as you've just heard, you can become a TSW VIP by taking part in our sponsorship scheme, the details for which are in the show notes about 30 seconds ago and on talkstarwars.co.uk. So, as is customary after that point, it's time for Connor's Corner featuring Leo. And Connor writes thusly. Good day, gents. So we're now into December and T-minus 15 days from Rogue One, as of when I'm writing this. And we're really excited. I had to put emphasis there because it's in caps. Tickets are bought. So I've got something I need to ask you this week. Here goes. At the end of episode 6, we see... Episode 6? Oh, we see Obi-Wan. He's talking about episode 3.
He's talking about episode 3, yeah.
All right, so the end of episode 3, we see Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Bail Organa in the hallway on the blockade runner talking about the fall of the Jedi and Darth Vader, formerly Anakin Skywalker, who they have seen on Holocron being knighted and given the title of Vader by the self-proclaimed Emperor Palpatine. Hoa! My question is, Senator Organa is aware that the child he and his wife are raising is the daughter of Darth Vader. We see him at the birth of the twins. Surely he's been told the story of Padme and Anakin, who is now Vader, yes? He must at all costs keep her out of harm's way and out of the hands of Vader, and never let her know the truth about her real father. So why did he send his daughter to get Kenobi's help? I mean, the man's on Tatooine watching over the other Skywalker twin. Yoda instructed Bail and Obi-Wan to keep the kids apart at all costs. Is this a case of Leia is the only one who can be trusted to bring Obi-Wan out of hiding, as Vader and the Empire are still hunting the Jedi after all these years, and Obi-Wan is one of the few Jedi remaining? Knowing how risky it is sending Leia to Tatooine, it must be important that the rebellion, I mean, look what's at risk here. Why send Leia? The twins on the same planet, and not to mention how close Obi-Wan lives to Luke, a quick drive over the Dune Sea and through the Jundland Waste, and you're there. Anyway, this question all hinges on the rumor of Rogue One taking us up to a couple of hours or minutes to the start of Star Wars Episode 4 and the appearance of a CGI young Leia. This is all fanfic at the minute, I know, but while I'm at it, I'd like to see your CGI Leia and raise you one fully restored Toshi Station scene spliced in, and young Luke watching from the planet surface roll credits. Thanks, guys. I can't wait to hear you talk about this. One more show until Rogue One, and we're going to have so much to talk about. May the Force be with us all. Connor, proud knight of the Commonwealth. P.S. Was the twin sons a hint at twin Skywalkers? Sent by Holocron.
Well, that last piece, I think, might more be a nod to the duality that Lucas has in his movies.
Yeah, because at the time he didn't know it was twins, did he?
No, I don't think he did at the time.
It's widely believed that he wasn't sure where he was, that he didn't have that in mind.
Yeah.
So
no, hence the it wasn't Episode 4 A New Hope then, was it? It was just Star Wars.
It was just Star Wars, yeah. That something has come out this evening on makingstarwars.net about other cameos.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet because obviously we're in the middle of recording this, but
I mean, in answer to the first question,
Luke Skywalker is mentioned in this article, though.
Okay, are you looking at it now? I just wanted to infill if you were taking.
No. I'm not gonna try and read it now because I will just get too distracted, and I want to be able to write about it as well. If I break it down and there's something there.
Okay. In relation to what Connor was saying about how everything happened with Obi-Wan and why do they put them so close and all the rest of it. Why is Leia asking to go and get Kenobi's help and that? Well, isn't all this as the Force wills it? We've been over this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what plans you have, and Yoda might have known that what was really going to happen, but maybe in order to get that to happen, he had to tell people not to do it.
I don't know. I don't see much of that. I know this is a very popular thing at the moment to sort of say it's because it was the will of the Force, and I'm not sure I'm seeing much of that in Star Wars, to be honest. The Jedi, when we saw them, couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
they really couldn't see anything coming, could they? They didn't see the villain right under their nose, and they didn't even know, as far as I know, that the temple was built on top of a Sith temple. So
yeah,
there's so much dark side going on. That will of the Force thing, I'm not buying it. I think it's there's a lot of gumption and a lot of spirit in Star Wars, and it's a lot of making the best of a bad situation. And my bet will be that we will see a CGI young Leia in Rogue One, and I think Bail sending her to Tatooine for Obi-Wan is a lack of options more than anything else. And of course, he'll want to keep her by his side, and he'll want to keep her out of the fight if he can.
Yeah.
We know that she's involved with the Senate in some way because it's in Vader's dialogue in Episode 4. You're
Yeah,
not on a mercy mission, you know.
That was my thinking. Was she's not important enough for it to be obvious what's going on, but she's important enough that she could be believed as an ambassador.
Yeah, and I would say that the Emperor is probably very much suspicious of Bail Organa and his involvement with this nascent rebellion, even though it's the rebellion seems to be forming within the Imperial Senate.
Yeah,
and when we saw the rebellion spark first burst to life, that was in the actual Senate itself, wasn't it? Before the Empire was even a thing.
Yeah,
there was rumblings of dissent even back there. So I'm sure that Vader and the Emperor suspect that Bail Organa is connected to the rebellion, but they can't publicly suspect Leia because she seems to have this guise of an ambassador doing charity work or doing relief work or doing, something.
Yeah.
Almost like a galactic NGO.
Something of substance, yeah.
Yeah. So he probably sends her on that mission at the last minute. It's just the best thing they've got to do at that time. Mm-hmm. And if there was another way around it,
he would do it.
He would do it, which makes me think that most of the rebels that we see in Rogue One are probably going to perish.
I would think that's a distinct possibility. I won't say, And
even Leia thinks she's going to perish as well, doesn't she? Because otherwise she wouldn't send that holographic message. She thinks she's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
When she sends that message, my mission to bring you to my father has failed.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure this is the last ditched effort.
Yeah, I would say that. I'm inclined to go with that. No, I was just going to sort of concur.
Steve, you on board with that?
Hello. Well, I'd be a liar if I said I've been listening to you because I just scrolled down in the show notes and saw that there's a spoiler for the opening scene of Rogue One.
You didn't highlight
and I thought it was a lie, so I had to grab it and paste it somewhere else.
You thought I lied in the show notes?
Well, I'm now frantically trying to delete the place I've pasted it on because I fear I might have read too much.
Yeah. Let's wrap up with Connor's Corner and I'll go into a bit of detail about what Steve's just said. So have we covered everything in Connor's question there? We have, haven't we?
I think so, yeah. There was why ascend Leia. And the other thing to keep in mind about Leia is it seems from episode 4 that it's conceivable they've met before, her and Vader.
Oh, yes, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get the impression. I know he's sort of, the kind of.
I recognise your foul stench when you was brought on board.
That's Tarkin.
Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. Oh, yeah, because
Oh, no,
Vader,
wait. Yeah.
Vader is nothing but a clean. He likes to shower.
She knows. Yeah. These are players now, and I read Tarkin recently, and then I read Catalyst straight afterwards, and you can see that Vader. People are very suspicious of Vader.
Yeah.
Tarkin is high profile.
Yeah, nobody really knows where Vader came from.
No, and
it's all hush hush.
Bail Organa and Leia are part of the Imperial Senate, so they're all up against each other, all rubbing shoulders, because this is just at the point we join them in 4. It's just at the point where it's about to explode.
Yeah, and all collapse.
And those things are going to break apart.
Yeah,
with the dissolution
of the... There's still diplomacy a little bit left at that point, isn't there?
It's all a charade, really, on the part of Palpatine. He's letting the machine run. And he's keeping it going as long as he can, because behind it, he's doing his own thing.
Well, the dictatorship.
His search for power, his search through the dark side, his promise to Anakin that between them they're going to find a way to crack open these secrets of the Force. And there's a lot of talk at the moment that the Death Star might have been Palpatine's ultimate goal. That might have been his plan from the start.
Well, do you not think the ultimate goal is to learn the ways of the Force that will mean you can live forever? Isn't that everyone's ultimate goal if you're that way inclined?
Yeah.
If you're a dark side user, then absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me.
It's all about him trying to sort of deny the passage of time. Yeah.
It could be a body jump type thing. for the Sith.
Did you guys cover the CGI part of Connor's question yet?
We covered young Leia.
Well, can I throw something in there? Because I did think of something when I was off ruining my life. With spoilers. Thank you, Mark. I thought it was a joke. I thought, no, there's nothing hidden here. What's he done? And there was nothing. It was cleverly put. I shouldn't have gone and copied and pasted it. Are we reaching the point with this film? And could it be a Kickstarter for the future if they do a good enough job of CGI Leia and whoever else, Luke as well, and they make it Uncanny Valley material?
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley material. Could it be the thing that we've all been waiting for, where they could then go and do? I don't know. I know it's a bad example because they've already cast Han Solo, but something where they actually say, right, all we need is someone to mocap it. We're gonna have the Han Solo doing it. We're gonna get his voice. We're gonna synthesize his voice as it really sounds. Get the nuances of his actions and his face, and then just go and make it. Like, why not? It
depends on the effect they're looking for, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the Uncanny Valley is a negative thing, isn't it?
Yes.
When it takes when you look at it, the Uncanny Valley effect is when you look at something, it pulls you out of the moment because it's not quite right.
Oh well, sorry, I used the wrong terminology.
Yeah. So this thing with Leia and Tarkin for sure in Rogue One, I suspect that we won't be putting too much on their performance in those films. They'll be there to look and react, and if they have any dialogue, I think it's going to be sparing, and they're not going to be on screen for anywhere near the amount of time that the other characters like Jin or even Mon Mothma are on screen, because the more time you have to connect with them, the more
it's going to look.
The more that
becomes a risk. Yeah.
Well, no, but that's my point. What if they pull it off, and there is a considerable amount of time on screen, and it's completely. Don't forget, we've had a few instances lately. I forget now. Let me think of some examples. Michael Douglas in Ant-Man, that was
blinding,
extremely good.
And Downey Jr. in Civil War.
I was about to say Civil War.
Yes, that was what I was going to say. That was the one I was thinking of. Thank you, Mark.
Really good, but really
how
short.
Amazing was that?
Very good, but really, really short scenes.
Yes.
Used to sort of hit a point to engage you and elicit an emotion from you, and I think that's what Leia's involvement in Rogue One and Tarkin's involvement in Rogue One will be doing a very specific job, and that is to butt up against A New Hope seamlessly. The Han Solo movie doesn't have to butt up against A New Hope seamlessly.
No,
it's on its own. So you can recast him, and no one's going to hold those two things up against each other and say, well, why are these different actors? That's a hypothetical scenario, because there's no way anyone is ever going to be doing that. Maybe in 200 years when someone's going through these old movies and going, well, why are these actors different? Why couldn't they get the same guy? And then they'll be idiots. But there's probably nuclear fallout caused their idiocy. But there's no reason why you need to CGI a character. Like if we're going to tell, well, I was going to use a bad example as well, Lando. But if you're going to take a character, look, if they do a story set after Return of the Jedi, and you want to tell Luke's story, him and Lor San Tekka trying to find Jedi temples, you have a choice there. You can either cast a new actor like Sebastian Stan, who looks uncannily like Mark Hamill, and let him own a movie or two, or you go to all that expense and risk of having Mark do it and then de-age him, or just do a CGI model of him and let that try and carry the weight of the film. It's much safer, to my mind, to go the Sebastian Stan route. And let people make that leap of, it's a leap of faith in it to say, I'm going to buy into his Luke now.
Yeah, I have a thought on the Leia thing. I think it's still entirely possible that they would forego the CG route and just have kind of body doubles and not have a focus on the face and just do it in a way that that's who it is. So shots from the back where you see the buns and Yeah. Things like just shots of an arm or something that's reaching out with
that would be great technique to reduce the amount of expensive CGI shots you need, but you're going to need at least 1 or 2 hero shots of her to really sell it. Otherwise, it stands out.
How are they going to do her voice? Because Leia,
she may not have to speak.
No, maybe not.
Well, yeah, but it's going to be kind of. I would imagine she would.
But there's a lady that does the voice in Rebels. She's very, very close.
She's very good. Yeah.
Very, very good. Very close.
But also, maybe the reason why they're not in this CGI realm yet is because they still need actual actors to do all the publicity for films.
No,
I don't think it's not a cynical marketing reason behind it. I think there is tech limitations as well.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Avatar. I mean, we were talking about a couple of examples earlier. Avatar's the ultimate example, and that's 7 years old.
But that's hyper stylized, though, Steve.
It's not human.
Yeah, so it doesn't betray itself because they're only approximations of what we understand. We recognise rapid eye movement as being a certain emotion, and we register that. That's why cartoons work when they're not even the same frame rate as live action. It's because we're approximating human behaviour, and it's registering and it's provoking that response that is the design of the storyteller. But in something like this, you can't depend on those techniques. Young 19-year-old Carrie Fisher is so familiar to us that we're going to be seeing something that's almost the thing we saw before, but just slightly different. So any deviation from what we understand as being that is going to trip us up. If we're doing a CGI Wookiee, that's something different, isn't it? Because we're not going to recognise it as much as we recognise human behaviour. So if they do this, and Tarkin, definitely Tarkin, but I'm sort of 80% sure that they'll do a Leia. It's got to do so much right. But between getting it right and getting it, there's so much wrong to be tripped over. Yeah. There's so much wrong there. You just get that. If you use a body double, you're cheating, and we see it. Why bother? They have to do the CGI. It has to be absolutely perfect, or there's no point in doing it. If you just do a body double from the back, it's cheating. We'll call you out on it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
If they do a really bad job of it.
No, if they get 90% of the way there, I'll applaud them for it. If they do something, if they take shots from deleted scenes, or they take shots from A New Hope and they flop them over and they use those as reference material to produce a CGI version so that it's in keeping with the rest of the movie, colour timed and lighting, what have you. Yeah. I'll applaud it, because that's doing everything right in my mind. You got the woman that we know, that we've known for 40 years, is right there on screen in this new film. Yeah. And it's providing us a very particular service. But to cheat and have a body double, so we can all go, hang on, that's not the Leia that we're going to see. You're saying this ends minutes before the next movie. That's not the Leia that I know. It just doesn't work. Yeah. Because this movie, if it sets out to do that, it has to do it right. Yes. The Han Solo movie, they're not setting out to do that. That's why they've been able to cast Alden Ehrenreich, because they're not setting out to do that. They're not saying that you've got to buy into this being the same guy. They're saying this is this guy, but it's 10 years earlier. Yeah. So it's a minefield that they're wandering into here. And I'm sure if they've chosen to do it, and there's an image later of what we suspect is Tarkin, looks like they're definitely doing that.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
They must be confident that they can pull it off. Yeah. Okay, that was a long ramble at the end of Connor's Corner there, but thank you, Connor.
Indeed.
Thank you, Connor.
Yes,
very much for your continued support, sir. All right, Twitter results. Let's rattle through this so we can get some of these news stories done. So last week we asked this question. You've joined the Imperial military, but they have too many stormtroopers. They need more personnel in specialist roles. Which branch of the forces do you join? So, do you become a biker scout? Yep. Or let me find Twitter. Do you become a biker scout, a TIE pilot, a snowtrooper, or a walker pilot? Steve, you weren't on last week. What would you choose?
A walker pilot.
A walker pilot. They do have the best toys.
I believe that's what I chose.
I would have gone for biker scout.
Okay.
Yeah, but you've got a high chance of ramming into a tree.
I don't trust myself at that speed.
Yeah,
I don't.
I just wouldn't get a posting on Endor.
I'd show off.
I'd ask to go to Tatooine.
Yeah, fair.
And then you could really open them up. We're not in that white army, you wouldn't?
I don't know. A walker pilot's nice and slow.
Yeah. That's just
I like the idea of a biker scout
pace,
type pilot. But the trouble is, I am a show-off, and I would kill myself, and everyone would laugh at me, and I wouldn't like it, and I'd cry just before I died.
Leader of the pack.
Yeah, this was a this was Matt Keegan's question that he submitted to us this week, and it was a very, very popular one. So it had 4,977 impressions, 300 total engagements, and over 230 people took the time to vote, and TIE Pilot won with 43%. Snowtrooper
how many
came
impressions
in last.
did you say that was, Mark?
4,977.
That's almost as many as I can do.
So
sorry, carry on.
Really, really did travel this one. It had serious legs. Snowtrooper only had 16%.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that Paul wasn't alone there.
No.
Biker Scout and Walker Pilot were like 20-21%. So TIE Pilot 43. A lot of people are quite eager
they want
to
the
be
spacefaring.
Cannon fodder.
Yeah, they want the spacefaring.
Yeah.
That's fair enough, you know.
All right, next week's Twitter poll. Where did I put the draft?
No.
It's okay. It's in the
wrong person to ask. It's in the show notes, though, right?
It's in the show notes, yeah. So let's read that as I try and find it on my phone, which is about to run out of battery. So this is next week's Twitter poll. With the recent reveal that Boba Fett was going to be the third Star Wars story before being cancelled, we would like to know which of these you'd prefer as a new entry in Star Wars cinema. Okay. Would you like a sequel to Rogue One, or a sequel to Han Solo's standalone film, or a post-Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker movie, or a standalone Clone Wars movie? All of these things we've spoken about already this evening.
They just announced that Rogue One is not going to get a sequel, so that one's kind of redundant.
Yeah, kind of, but there's
you can still say you want to see it.
There's many a slip twixt a cup and a lip, though.
We haven't seen Han Solo yet, so I'm not sure about that. I know the answer. I know which one's going to win. I think we all do.
Right, I'm tweeted it now. It has gone out.
We're going to be, if we're talking about CGI, then that's kind of fits nicely with that, doesn't it?
We're not talking about CGI, though, Steve.
No, we were.
You were talking about.
Rob is on board with me here.
I know what you're saying. I don't necessarily. That wouldn't be the one I'd pick, but I know what you mean, and I think you're probably right that that's the one that's going to win.
Right. Well, it's out there. So.
All right, groovy.
6 hours. We'll find out. 6 days, 22 hours. Let's see how that goes.
That is when the poll will end.
Yeah. Save the Twitter polls. Save the dream. Right. Okay. One thing in Star Wars Celebration this week, tickets for Star Wars Celebration are now on sale.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There is a link as well in the show notes. So if you download the show notes, you can click through to that. Nothing for The Force Awakens. So Rogue One, A Star Wars Story gets most of the news this week, with one little bit about Episode 8. So an image of Bail Organa came out this week, which was leaked in a magazine. Not leaked, but it was published in a magazine. And that's where we got it from. So can you see that in the show notes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Bail Organa in very, very drab garb. Mm-hmm. So not really looking either senatorial or looking pretty hench.
Yeah.
Not looking very regal or senatorial. Where's it from?
In 3? In 3.5?
No,
yeah,
Rogue
One, yeah.
Wow. But why isn't he 30 years older than the end of 3?
Because he only needs to be 19 years older than the end of 3.
Okay, well that fits nicely. I'll shut up then.
Hey, look, we did catch a glimpse of him at Celebration, Steve. You probably didn't hear me through my tears as I was mentioning that you could see him in that sizzle reel.
Oh, I didn't know.
That kind of slipped out. He's barely in focus in that clip.
Yeah.
And from what Jimmy Smits has said himself, he's barely even in the movie. It's such a micro cameo as to almost
And does
pointless.
he have a
Makes sense though.
smaller head in episode 3 as he does in episode 3.5? On his right shoulder, hovering above.
Yes, he's grown another head. Like that thing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, yeah. What was his name? Beetlebod or something?
Beetle Rocks.
Yeah, that's him. So there he is. Yeah. He's made his way to Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. I'm looking forward. So that's clearly in the Yavin base with the other three senators.
It's very much like it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I can just imagine that scene now. I'm looking forward to it. Did you see... There's a TV clip. There's tons of them. There's like 16 TV spots out at the moment.
Yeah.
But the one that's called Trust has a very awesome and funny looking K2SO.
I think I've seen something from it. Yeah, I'm losing track of which bits I've seen and which bits I haven't. But he's so funny. So funny.
I put a clip out this morning on Talk Star Wars, which was shown on the Fallon show.
Oh, yeah.
Which had Jyn Erso shoot one of these Imperial droids.
Okay.
Dead.
I haven't seen any of these.
And the body drop... Oh, you don't want spoilers, do you, Steve?
Well, I'm putting my finger in my ears and taking them out periodically.
The body drops to the floor just as K2SO walks around the corner and says, "Did you know that wasn't me?" It was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely genius.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome.
I don't know why they do so many TV spots.
But they're not showing much.
No, but the trouble is, I don't know if anyone else finds this, but when I'm watching the movie and trying to get lost in it, and one of them comes up, I'm always think, oh yeah, I saw that bit. And I'm like, why am I thinking that?
Part of my brain does that, but most of it is just squeeing with joy, so it doesn't really matter too much. But this Trust TV spot was the shot of him catching a grenade and tossing it over his shoulder and blowing up a bunch of stormtroopers. Yeah. I think this character is going to be brilliant. Really going to be fun.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's another link on the next line down, which is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, IMAX One Sheet posters.
Yep.
I'm going to get each of these.
Okay.
And they're absolutely stunning. If you click through that, can you see the 3 separate designs?
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
They look great, don't they?
Oh, well, that Vader one's superb.
Yeah, everyone likes the Vader one.
Yeah. Needs more Krennic, but he is in there, but it needs a bigger version. But then everything does.
Yeah, everything needs more
I'd
Krennic.
watch a movie about a 50-foot Krennic.
Attacking a 50-foot Krennic.
Yeah.
Very 50s movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love them. They are brilliant. One of them is the cover art to this week's show.
Yes.
Do I accept cookies from that Talk Star Wars website? I don't know.
I think Talk Star Wars is probably one of the safest places on the internet.
Indeed. Okay, so the next bit after the IMAX thing is this story that came out about Bodhi Rook getting expanded story elements during the reshoots. Riz Ahmed spoke to Anthony Bresnikan at EW and explained that his role had been expanded. And it makes me wonder now, if we've seen a few bits, Steve, you might want to block your ears up again.
Yeah, go on.
I wonder if we might have seen Bodhi Rook leave the story in one of the trailers. Because if you look at these trailers closely, you know those big 4-winged shuttle, those big cargo shuttles?
Yeah.
It looks very much like, well, I think it definitely is. The Rebels leave Yavin 4 in that. Mm-hmm. That we see that take off from Yavin 4, and I think they take that to Scarif. Right. And then there's a shot of Bodhi looking very, very pensive, sort of hiding behind something, backed up against like a container or something.
Yeah.
And then if you jump to another TV spot, there's a shot of him standing and turning around and quickly running into one of those big 4-wing shuttles again.
Okay.
And then there's a shot of that big 4-wing shuttle exploding in another TV spot.
Right.
And I'm beginning to wonder whether or not we're going to see Bodhi's arc go from flip from the Empire to the Rebellion,
Okay.
And that gets him killed.
Right.
And then maybe they need to steal the shuttle Diderium to get off the Scarif.
Maybe. I think it's a what might work as a possibility, because I was thinking about this when I first read the notes, is that his scenes were mostly confined to the dropship that they travel on.
Mm-hmm.
And in the reshoots, they kind of added some dialogue in those scenes, because maybe they were just very much, just transition scenes from place to place, but maybe they've actually expanded and fleshed out some of those scenes while they were there.
Yeah, that was one of the comments, wasn't it? That there was a lot of talking in cockpits and things like that, which kind of worries me a little bit. I think I wrote a piece on Talk Star Wars about it. That
they did too much of it. It could be boring, couldn't it? Yeah.
You've got to show. You show, don't tell in film.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have someone sitting in a cockpit telling their story, I might as well be reading it in a book. We need to see that development unfold. Mm-hmm. And maybe there was too much of that, and they needed to get some of those elements into Bodhi's actions rather than into his dialogue.
Possibly, yeah. Either that, or they've fleshed out the scene so that there is something going on that you can sort of watch, and then they're telling you a story while it's going on, something like that.
Okay, your fingers out now.
Yeah, and pull your fingers. Yeah, pull your fingers out now, mate. All right, so the next piece. Did the Rogue One TV spot breathe or breath? I'm not sure which is which.
It's breath.
It's breath, is it? Did that TV spot give us our first look at Tarkin? If you look at that image, if you download the show notes, you can see that. I think
it's entirely likely.
It's absolutely
Tarkin. It's got kind of a little bald spot on the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Tarkin, Peter Cushing had that wicked cool DA that he brushed his hair into at the back, and it looks like that's there.
Is that Vader's reflection next to him?
Yeah, it looks very much like it.
It looks a bit like it, doesn't it?
It does.
Maybe they're standing there having a discussion.
Yes, I never noticed.
And they're actually in the film. You'll see Tarkin's reflection, and the reason they've sort of not added it in production because they want to tease it for the actual movie. But maybe you'll see both their reflections looking out over the Death Star.
Yeah,
well,
or it'll shift.
The windows are Star Destroyer windows, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. If they're looking at the Death Star, they'd probably be on the on a normal or superclass Star Destroyer.
Yeah, there was a scene in the Catalyst book. It's not too spoilery. It's what Matt Keegan referred to as the Back to the Future 2 shot.
Oh yeah.
Where we saw Krennic in this position, looking at the star, looking at the Star Destroyer that had the Emperor, Vader, and Tarkin on as they were looking at the Death Star. It's kind of a cool little twist on that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no doubt that this is Tarkin. And
I'd be very surprised at this point if it's somebody else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that dark coloured tunic as well, that's his choice of uniform. Mm-hmm. And James Luceno goes to great lengths to explain that is precisely what his uniform looks like. Yeah, I've also put in the show notes who else might we see in Rogue One. Well, we've already covered Leia.
Yeah.
But I need to read this news story that came out tonight on makingstarwars.net about other cameos. But it looks like we're going to... Rob Williams at Generation X-Wing sent me a picture of Porkins.
Yep.
As seen on a trading card. And it looks like Biggs, or at least somebody with a moustache wearing Biggs' helmet, is going to be in this movie. So who else do you think we could see?
Well, that's an interesting... What, from the Rebellion?
Or from the other movies?
Palpatine?
We might see Palpatine, yeah. There's a good chance of that. It depends if we see anything of the Imperial Senate.
Yeah.
Or another
quick... He could be hologram, couldn't he?
It could be, I suppose.
With one of them.
Yeah. Another quick retraction from last week's show as well, which was entitled Return to Coruscant. It looks like Gareth Edwards suggested last night on the Star Wars show that the planet I was thinking was Coruscant with the facility on, research facility, is actually a planet called Yardu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like...
Why does that sound familiar?
It doesn't look like there's a great deal of information in Catalyst to take away from this. You carry on, Rob.
Oh, what was the name of the... What was it? Yardu? Yeah. What has Yardu spelled?
I'm not sure. He spoke it on the...
Sounds really familiar. Really, really, really familiar, that name. Like I've seen it in a book or something, or heard it on an audiobook, maybe.
What's the guy in the end of episode 4 when they're waiting for the Death Star to fire? He's next to Princess Leia, and I can't remember his name.
General Dodonna.
Yeah, is
General
he going to be in
Dodonna. He's in it, yeah.
Maybe.
I think you can see him in very early footage that was released from Rogue One. What about General Medine?
Oh, but he's in 6, isn't he?
Yeah, we don't know necessarily when he defects.
No.
He's a defector from
is he a defector?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Is that canon still?
I think so.
I had his Star Wars figure when I was young, and it was really rare.
Oh, okay.
I had that.
It wasn't, but it was rare because they didn't make many to start with. And Jeremy and I bought them, and then you never saw them anywhere.
Yeah, he is still a canon defector.
Cool.
Yeah, after Hoth.
I'd quite like to see him turn up. I think that would be interesting.
He had a little staff.
He did have a little white staff.
Yes, like a little pointer.
Yeah.
Okay, strange. Right. We're going to jump over the Rogue One box office pre-sale things, just to say that it's been really good. Opening moments of Rogue One. There has been a leak about how the movie will open. It's taken from a fan. It's a fan screening that Diego Luna was at. The first 20 minutes played, I think, which would be technically a real one. So I've put a description in the show notes. It's in invisible ink, which I thought was actually quite clever. You can copy and paste the text. So take the text out of the show notes, paste them somewhere else, and you can read it if you want to. The reason it's in invisible ink is so that no one can just stumble into this stuff. Steve did it, and he wishes he hadn't.
No, well, I only read the first sentence, and I have this really brilliant trick when you get older, which is I can make myself forget anything. And I just did. I have no idea what it said now. I just convinced myself.
Let's just hope you don't forget how to do that trick, because then you'll be snookered. I
would.
All right, let's
just... You read it, Mark?
I read it, yeah. I don't mind spoilers. It's to me, it's more about how we get to these things and not the actual content itself. I will enjoy it just as much, even if I know it.
Yeah.
Episode 8
Can
stuff.
Can you ask me one thing? I take it from that, and I kind of got a vibe. I think if I remember rightly, now I'm trying to remember what it did. Does it reference?
Don't say spoilers, Steve. The reason it's in invisible ink is so that we don't put spoilers on the show.
Oh no, yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
I only wanted to know about the opening crawl, and I can't remember what it said.
Well, you won't be reading an opening crawl. That's not a spoiler.
No.
They've been quite open about that. There will not be an opening crawl. Okay, this is our last thing of the evening, episode 8.
Okay.
Potential spoilers. So if you're gun shy, then you can jump off now. Anthony Bresnikan again from EW. He's been doing stellar work over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, he's really fantastic. I look forward to this end of the year because he's all over it. He appeared on Rebel Force Radio last week and mentioned the Obi-Wan movie that hasn't been greenlit yet. And he seemed to suggest that we may not be done with Obi-Wan in the saga movies yet.
Okay.
He suggested that we might see Obi-Wan return in 9, but I think there's just as much of a chance of him turning up in episode 8.
Yeah.
There's a link in the show notes to that. But in light of what we've just been talking about, Tarkin and Leia in Rogue One, what are the chances that we might see a CGI Alec Guinness in 8 or 9, or both?
I would want it done very, very subtly. And I'm saying to the point where I think it would only make sense if you went for something really, really light, like... Because obviously he's going to be a Force ghost.
Yeah.
Most likely. So So you have an Alec Guinness Force Ghost, which is made up of footage from the original trilogy, and you animate his lips.
Yes, yep.
Something like that. Just something where they're not doing a lot of CG stuff, and it's all kind of old style looking. So I think that's the only way it's going to look any cop.
That'll be quite easy to do, considering they're monochromatic characters, aren't they? The Force Ghosts. So
yeah,
be a lot more forgiving. What's your thought on that, Steve? I know we're covering some of the stuff we'd already discussed earlier on.
I say go the other way. Like, don't worry about grabbing previous footage because it'll be obvious. I can remember how he moved in Empire, sitting on that log, and I think I'd notice if it was nabbed from another film. I say go for it, do the whole thing, do it well. They got the money.
I'm going to save you from yourself there, Steve, because I know people are just going to jump up and down on you. Because that scene you remember so well from Empire was in Jedi.
Oh, Jedi! Sorry.
But I will save you the. I know people have just been reaching for their pockets to grab their iPhones and tweet.
Yes.
Well,
that scene. I think do it properly. Don't nab any footage. Don't do it cheap. Just do it right.
There might be some footage on the cutting room floor, that they'll be able to sample and use as reference material, just like we were saying. Possible deleted scenes of Carrie Fisher from the original movie that they could use as a source.
Possibly, and do anything nowadays.
We're right there. We're right on the cusp of this sort of becoming a thing. But like I was saying earlier, if they do it, it needs to be done to deliver a very specific result. And it needs to be done sparingly, I think, right now.
Yeah.
Unless they do something amazing with Tarkin and then all bets are off.
Yeah.
Okay.
With his ducks.
Yeah, you can't see the second part. Okay.
What? Oh, it's a haircut style. It's all right.
It is. Yeah, it's a very old-fashioned haircut style. Right. That's us done. Anything you guys want to add before we duck out of this episode?
No, only that I made the entire episode and I'm shattered.
You're a very, very brave little soldier.
Yeah, very good.
I've been a very good boy.
Bless
And
your
I'm no
little
longer
cons.
naked because I got cold.
Well, that'll happen this time of year. I'm freezing as it is. All right. Thank you very much for joining us again this week, everybody. Episode 51 is in the can. Don't forget you can leave us that 5-star review we spoke about earlier. Head over to iTunes and take advantage of our Ron Burgundy guarantee. Whatever you write in a 5-star review, we'll read, as long as there's no hate speak and no foul language, which, as Rob points out, probably wouldn't pass iTunes vetting system anyway.
Considering how long it takes for us to get the reviews after people say they've left them, I think they're being vetted extremely carefully. So I think actually we could probably get away with just saying keep it clean, and that would be enough.
Yeah. So you could take advantage of that and promote your own blog or podcast or wish someone happy birthday, whatever you like. It's the holiday season. Wish someone happy Christmas. You can email us questions and comments at talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on one of our many social channels, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and more. With that in mind, guys, where can people find you this week?
Dave, you're up, mate.
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube, called Wild About Nature, although it is cold and all the nature is in bed waiting for me to film them in the spring. So there are some reasonably interesting videos I've done recently, but it's all kind of getting very cold. So, but please turn up there and support me by watching my videos in particular, which helps me raise funds to save the wildlife in the rainforest and the rainforest itself.
Nice one. Rob?
He's on Twitter at Stephen_Ware because he didn't mention that.
Oh no, you should be able to get it by doing Wild About Nature on Twitter as well.
Can you? Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I believe so. You know me and Twitter. I don't understand the way it all works.
I do know you and Twitter.
Witchcraft.
Yes.
All I can say is witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
The whole thing is witchcraft.
It's all magic. It's fine.
Burn me at the stake.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to try that now. Wild About Nature. Wild.
We're getting fact checking live, listeners.
Yeah, Wild About Nature. Steve, you're the top result.
Nice.
You're the only result.
Nice.
Yeah. Why else would somebody spend their life doing that when no one cares?
Yeah. Rob, where can people find you, mate?
Farting on YouTube and you've got 1 million hits.
Yeah, true. Yeah, well, believe me, Steve, there's a number of times where I look at videos and just go, maybe I shouldn't put so much effort into what I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to see what I do, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision. I also manage a blog, emotionally14.com, which has 2 podcasts and a YouTube channel. You can find that at emotionally14.com, at emotionally14 on Twitter. It has a Facebook page, and you can find everything that's connected to it from there. So iTunes podcasts and YouTube and all that. Feel free to join in. We have a jolly fun shows, which are enjoyed by all.
And Hawaiian Punch Nights every Tuesday.
Sure.
You can find everything I do at talkstarwars.co.uk, and I am at talkstarwars on Twitter. Don't forget to leave us that review, and thank you again for joining us. Check out our friends and partners on the Star Wars Commonwealth. You'll not only find our show there, but Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, Rogue Squadron podcast, and the Skyhoppers podcast, and New Kids on the Block. All that can be found at StarWarsCommonwealth.com. Check them out. They're worth your time. Some stellar shows over there. All right. We'll see everybody next week.
May the force be with you.
Cheers. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Recording again. Episode 51 is a go. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay then.
It's Mark, Steve, Rob, right?
Yep. Yeah. Just the usual.
No, Mark, Rob, Steve.
No.
Yeah, you. No, I'm third place.
We struggle enough to get it right when we go for the usual tried and trusted everything.
Yeah.
So let's just do it. Just do the.
If anyone notices, Rob, listen. You do me, and I'll do you. And see if anyone says.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, yes.
Let's do that and see what happens.
All right, great.
Oh God, this is going after the credits. Okay, here we go then. Ready?